Hey, it's Dave. Just here with a few words before we get going on the episode. No clever skit or scene this month. No pre-recorded funny business. Just me. I want to say a few things before we get going. So I recently put out there that I would set up a schedule for 2025, putting out 2 episodes a month, 2 slightly different episode styles, kind of covering all the bases of things I want to do with the show. And in a absolutely classic textbook to me manner, set that goal and immediately failed in the delivery on that goal. And in a way, for me, I know me, it's not unexpected, but it's almost a relief, because now I can just kind of go ahead and keep working at it, keep doing what I want to do, which is put out more content to you about playing World of Warcraft and the world of Warcraft. But maybe because we've broken the perfect string of, well, at this point, 1 episode on schedule. Now that we've broken that streak, it almost takes the pressure off. Life is full of ebbs and flows, right? All of us have lives that come and go. Things get busy, things get not busy. Things pull you in different directions. And I know a lot of people putting out content that's the opposite of what they intend to do. They want to give you a schedule. They want to stick to that schedule, whether it's weekly, whether it's streamers who are on daily doing a thing, podcasts that come out, usually Monday at whatever every week. They're there for you. I'm going to half apologize that is not solo queue. But that's not solo queue, and it probably never was going to be solo queue, and I don't think you're here looking for that. I'm recording this because this episode in particular should have been out the end of January, like the plan. A whole bunch of it was recorded in the end of January. It's now February, and I'm still wrapping up. I've got a few more things to add, some editing. This thing is almost done, but I just want to let you know, this didn't go as planned. It'll come out. So some of the news might be a little less newsy than it was more than a week ago when it was recorded. So that's the half apology. That said, I don't think you're here necessarily for that. And again, I'm not trying to be that podcast. The goal of Solo Q is to share my experiences in World of Warcraft, to comment on the things going on in the world. Hopefully I'm not trying to be something that I can't be. Hopefully you're not, like I said, coming here for that news update and you need that information to play the game correctly, and you're going to be grumpy with me if you don't get it. I hope that's not the case. And I don't want to put it out there that that's what I'm giving you. And hopefully you, the listener, can appreciate the difference of not being one of those podcasts, but this is a little bit of a different thing. As Sin wrote in his Apple Podcast review, not hitting the release schedule of, back then, even every month, makes, in his words, makes this podcast a little bit more relatable. And I really appreciate that, because I feel bad not getting this out on time, and then it stresses me out, and then, that just somehow makes it go slower. But I appreciate that, because that is ultimately the podcast I want to put out, is entertaining, a little bit different, not necessarily focused on the same things, and not necessarily timely. I don't need it to be timely. It ebbs and flows with my life, and my life ebbs and flows a lot. And this is a one-man operation. It's a one-person show. If it were not, if there were multiple people involved, or if I sent this away for, editing, or was using AI to do the editing and producing, whatever, yeah, I would stick to a schedule. I definitely would stick to a schedule. But that's not. This is Solo Queue is a labor of love for me. I love doing all the parts, even though it can get to be a lot of work, but I really enjoy it. I hope that my enjoyment and my interest in improving comes out in the quality. I guess I care more about that quality than I do hitting exact deadlines. Now, the extreme of that, of course, is I could take 20 years to craft the perfect podcast episode, and I don't want to do that. So there is a balance in there of getting stuff to you to enjoy and not being perfect. Enemy of the good, that sort of thing. Yeah, there's a reason that exists. So, I hope by the time you're hearing this that you aren't too miffed and you're ready to enjoy another episode of Solo Queue. I hope there's some interesting thoughts and info and experiences in there for you. I feel awesome if you're still digging this content. And hey, I still plan to pump out 24 episodes to you this year. Like, that goal still sits in my mind. They may not be every 2 weeks, every half month, whatever plan I was hoping for. That's okay. And if you're okay with that, then hey, I think it's going to be a fun year. I think I got a lot of things kind of in the back of my brain or in my notes that are going to make for some fun, interesting episodes. And I hope you enjoy. I really do. So without more of me rambling, let's get on to episode number 2 of this year, arriving to your podcast feed exactly when it feels like it is good and ready to get there. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for waiting. See you on the other side of this intro. You have entered the Solo Queue, a monthly podcast about adventuring alone in the world of Warcraft. Thanks for joining me. My name is Dave Gagne. Welcome to episode 19 of Solo Queue, the first regular format episode of 2025. We get back to the sort of traditional format. News, updates from my time in Azeroth, a new chapter of farming in Raid of the Month. But before we dive into that, I need to mention the previous episode and give a big shout out of thanks to the Snake of Vol'dun.
Circlet, save us all.
The previous episode, even in its first week of launch, has been the most popular episode I've put out, at least in the first week of being out. It is setting all sorts of records. And that might sound kind of obvious as the podcast grows, but this was kind of by leaps and bounds, and that shows there's some real hidden power in the Sethrak society. I'm super thankful for all of the folks in that community who clearly checked out the show, and hopefully you guys are here to stay. Hit that download button. I appreciate you checking us out here at Solo Queue. And Snake of Vol'dun, thanks for a fantastic conversation. I loved it. Learned a lot. And he clearly has a posse down there in Australia, so be careful. And that really showed me the power of spreading this podcast by word of mouth. I mean, I've joked that I'm here, a small-time operation, gaining like one listener at a time, doing it in person if I can, like a door-to-door salesman, vacuum salesman or something. But in a way, it kind of works, right? And that means if you are enjoying these episodes, why not mention it to your friends? Drop it into a Discord channel or maybe mention it in your guild chat. Post it somewhere where others will see. The growth is real. It is kind of exciting to continue to watch those numbers go up. Sadly, the free service that I was using to see where Solo Q was ranking against other shows in the podcast categories, which usually for most markets is the leisure podcast category. But anyway, that service is gone, so I haven't been able to check and see where we rank on downloads relative to other shows. When I was able to, there were some moments where Solo Q had broken into the top 100 on the Apple Podcasts US chart for downloads. And that, like I said, is leisure podcasts, not video game podcasts, because video games are like a subset of that. So leisure, I mean, that's kind of all encompassing. And the show actually topped out at number 45 over the summer on, some given day, hour, or whatever. That was really exciting. Not bad for a little niche show. And, since then, I know my numbers continue to rise. And again, I don't know how they compare to others, whatever. It's really exciting, especially heading into this new year. And hey, if you're out there, let me know what you think, what you like, what you don't like about the show. You can find me at SoloQWow, SOLOQUEUEWOW @gmail.com, or that same username on Blue Sky, Twitter, and other places. Today on the show, we're gonna catch up with the news on the cusp of 11.1, the 11.1 content update coming out next month. We're going to travel to a not so popular place to grab a drink and steel our nerves for a first attempt at this month's Raid of the Month. So that's going to be interesting. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot. There's a lot coming here. Obviously we'll catch up with whatever I've done in the month, but there's a little bit of a topic at the end. It's not going to be big, but somebody out there in the WoW podcast world mentioned Solo Q on a podcast episode recently, and it caught my attention in a funny way. So we'll kind of end with that. But for now, let's catch up on what the heck I've been up to in 2025.
And what have you done lately?
The anniversary event, of course, ended weeks ago, earlier the month, and I think I may have mentioned it briefly in the last episode, but I wanted to kind of throw out the final tally because, frankly, I was going to say impressed myself, but impressed might not be the right word. Maybe scared myself a little, or...
I got a bad feeling.
Relax.
I'm not sure what to think of these numbers. So, I've been telling you how many characters and all that stuff, and I did throw a thing out on the social medias. I ran 46 total characters through anniversary trivia questions. A few of them, it wasn't long. Only about 20 of them went from the beginning to the end. And I missed about a week early. But after that, I think it was like 9 weeks. I think there was a total of 10 weeks of trivia. So I hit at least 9 weeks on 20 characters. I added another 19 or 20 and even added another bunch to get me to 46. The last bunch were a bunch that were over 70. So they were in kind of War Within doing stuff there. Anyway. The numbers are ridiculous, and really it's because it's a 10-week anniversary, not the normal 3 weeks. So we basically had more than 3 years of anniversary all bunched into one. What number should I give you first? Let me give you this. The character that earned the least number of levels, there was one that only earned 5, another one that only earned 6, and both of those were level 70s. They went from 70 to 75 and 76. And the leveling was very different once you hit 70. It was about 1/8 of a level per day. Everybody else was above 10, so double digits. And there were only about 15 or so that were in the teens. And everybody else earned 20 or more levels. Numerous characters earned 30 or more levels, and it was my longtime Tauren warrior named Aldebaran. He was the grand winner. He went from level 35 to level 68, so earning 33 levels just doing anniversary trivia. Fascinating. Fascinating. There was a point at the end where I was getting a level every 2 days. And this was like in the 40s or 50s. Somewhere in there, the leveling got, I don't know if it got a little squished or the numbers adjusted, whatever, but there was a number of times where I went 2 days instead of 3 days for a level. So over those 46 characters who earned from 5 levels to 33 levels, the total number of levels was 942. That was amazing. That was so much fun. It's weird. I know it sounds weird. It was fun. It was fun to have this thing to do each day and to stay at it. And, so there you go. There's my anniversary update. Every now and then when I hit the character select screen, if you have a boost kicking around, you'll know this. It appears in the character select screen as a little coin up in the corner. Every now and then I notice that and I think, oh yeah, I've got a level 70 boost now that I have like 40 characters at level 70. It's not quite 40, maybe it's 25 or something like that. But anyway, absolutely hilarious how many characters I have at level 70 now. Actually, you know what? Let's go count. It's exactly 40. I have 40 characters, level 70 to 80, somewhere in that range. So there you go. Yay, anniversary event. I feel like I never have to do it again. If Blizzard, and if you're listening, at the risk of like ruining it for everybody, not everybody, but it would not kill me if Blizzard, I almost don't even want to say it out loud, but if Blizzard were to change the order of the answers, like if the order of the answers appeared randomly, all of this would be a little bit slower. It really would. If you're someone who does this so much, if you just do one character or you putter around a little bit, it's not going to change. Like you're going to look at the question, you're going to look at the answers, but it is just pattern recognition. It is just knowing, oh, if this name appears in this place, then the whole thing, the answer is this. And it's just knowing that pattern. And I don't know how many questions there are. Maybe there's 60 or so. That's a guess. I probably know 55 of them by sight every time. There's still a hat full of them that I can get wrong, or even a couple that I honestly don't know the answer to, which is just funny. So if they made the order random, even keeping the same 4 answers for the questions, because that's all part of it. I recognize, there's a set of 4, sometimes 3. I know if that set of 4 has this thing like this, then I know the answer is that. Simple as that. So I don't know. I feel like I have conquered the anniversary tally, though, the anniversary trivia. So there you go. Okay. Let's leave that behind, because I think I could weirdly talk about that forever, and half of you have probably tuned out already. So stop.
You're just embarrassing yourself.
Other things I got up to, I mentioned last episode, or maybe the last regular format episode, so maybe it was December, but I was having an issue of losing dialogue in the game. I thought it was made up. It was weird. Not sure what was causing it, and I'm still not sure what's causing it. But I noticed it after recording various sounds in game for the podcast, and I've since done some research. I found a fix. I forget. I've lost the fix. I don't remember where it is, so I don't have a link necessarily to put into the show notes that I'm not sure anyone reads. But here's what happens. If you are losing dialogue, meaning you walk up to a character and they don't say anything, and you're like, I think they used to say something. Now, some people don't, but if you talk to enough people and nobody's talking, yeah, you've got this weird, I don't know if it's a virus. There's a lot going on out in the world with viruses and stuff, so maybe it's that, but it keeps happening to me, and it's probably happened 5 or 6 times. No, 4 or 5 times. Yeah, so like 4 or 5 times. Here's what I do, and so far it's worked. I can't promise it'll work for you. I can't promise nothing bad will happen, but here's the gist of it. It scared me at first, but the advice I got or found was you want to go on to the hard drive where you have WoW installed. You want to open the program files x86 folder. Scroll down to World of Warcraft. Click that open. Find the version of WoW where you're having the problem. I mean, this only happened to me in retail, so click open that retail folder. And in the retail folder, there is a folder called cache, C-A-C-H-E. If you delete the cache folder, it fixes the problem. Now, if that seems scary, here's what I did. Each time it happens, I move the cache folder to my desktop. That way, if the world ends or whatever, I've broken something, I can restore that pretty easily. But each time I've done it, I essentially have deleted the cache folder because the game can't find it. Do this when you're not in the game. Just quit out of the game. When you open the game back up, it creates a new cache folder. Whatever the heck is in there, I don't know. It's caching things. So it'll recache things, and dialogue has been restored. Now, I'm not sure why it goes away. I think it might be something weird that I'm doing with the podcast, but I don't really understand why recording something would cause this to happen. So anyway, I have had no side effects from dropping that cache and restarting. I can't guarantee that for you. I am, not a trained professional. Actually, I do have some professional IT job stuff, but I'm still not offering a guarantee. Solo Q is not responsible for the loss of your cache file, but check that out if you are having that issue. Okay, enough tech talk. What have I been up to? Well, mostly puttering around on my main, my Night Elf Druid, Feral Druid, trying to just tie up loose ends, questing and upgrading gear. I think maybe kind of the first time I'm paying attention to how I can get gear upgraded. I'm sort of seeing the max of doing just delves and not getting into dungeons and raids, but that's okay. I mean, that's fine. It's just interesting to finally look around at that. I have, let's say, 606 in every slot just this week. I had forever I had a blue chest piece and everything else was purple. And I finally got a 590 chest in a level 6 delve. And of course, as I turned in that delve quest, it reminded me I hadn't grabbed my Great Vault for the week this past Tuesday. And immediately the Great Vault reward was, of course, a 606 chest. So after waiting forever to upgrade from 580 in about a minute and a half, I went from 580 to 590 to 606. So yeah, with the Circlet and everything, I'm up around 609 total, I think. So that's pretty exciting for me. That's a bit of an achievement, not gonna lie. And as I said, I did get over to Siren Isle and finish up the Circe's Circlet update. Got the ring to 658, so I believe it's 6 rounds of upgrades that you can go do over the course of 6 weeks. And of course, now they're all available. So if you are doing either catching up or just starting a fresh character, you can now get all 6 of those upgrades without having to sort of, with no time delay. You don't have to wait for the week to change. They're all available. You'll see the little kind of pink purple triangle quest marker appear that is that weekly campaign quest item. So yeah, track that down, do that. As soon as you do one, the next one will appear. It'll be right in that kind of hub area for the Siren Isle. And I haven't, I know I talked about not quite getting the story of it and missing some of it. And that was when I first mentioned this dialogue issue. I tried to pay a little bit more attention, I guess. And I think I got a little bit more of the story when I went back to it. It still doesn't seem, I don't know. It still didn't quite grab me. And again, that's not a big criticism of the game. It just didn't hit me very well. I haven't gone back to even take a look at what I can spend. I think I have like 10,000 flame scorched iron or flame blessed iron, whatever the heck it is. I haven't really been over there to check out what I can buy, and I'm sure I will at some point. Just not yet. I don't know. It's nice. It's the patch people needed to kind of get them to the next thing. It's a little bit of content. It didn't demand too much of you. If you didn't want all, 80 something thousand flame blessed iron to get every single thing on the list. Well, I got through that with 10,000, and I'm sure I can buy something. I can't remember if there are mounts on offer. I have started the quest to feed the pet that's sitting there waiting for you to feed him or her or it. And I think you do it like 3 or 4 times, and you then get the pet. I've started it 3 times, and every time I know I'm like, okay, I got to come back within like 3 days or something and feed it again. So presumably I've killed this pet 3 times. I start feeding it, give it hope, and then I just don't return to the Siren Isle for about 2 weeks. That poor thing. I might have to add that to my lifelong list of WoW things to try and go back and do, because, it seems like an easy thing, but boy, getting somewhere 3 or 4 times in the course of 7 days. Yeah, I'm just not that regular with my schedule. So maybe I don't deserve that pet. Maybe that's just what we're finding out. I did, though, running around Siren Isle, notice something, an improvement in the game, a fix in the game, a bug fix in the game, I think I would argue. And I guess I haven't run around to see if it is true everywhere. But what I found was, and I assume everybody has this problem. Playing a druid, I'm often, occasionally I should say, I'm occasionally in water form mode. Like I have the dolphin, I guess is the big manatee looking thing, but usually I'm in dolphin form, swimming around. And it has always bothered me that when you get to the surface, essentially your character can't, how does this work? It can't ride the surface and stay in dolphin mode. I've had the worst trouble with that for years. And of course, before flying on Siren Isle, I was in the water. There was some times where it's just fast to go around the island in dolphin mode. And I think normal characters can do it in whatever fast mode the Siren Isles offered, but I, as a druid, could just hop into the water. But for the first time ever, I could ride and just push this is what it is. I can just push the forward button, and when I get to the surface, it changes from kind of 3-dimensional to 2-dimensional. Like I'm now just going forward on the surface of the water. And before that just did not work the same way. And I am assuming somebody fixed that. And it's something I wouldn't have even complained about. I just thought, oh, well, okay, the game does this when I try and do that. Yay. Excited for that. Tiniest thing, I know, but excited for that. I did finish up the Kirin Tor quest line as well. That is some of the kind of extra story content that came with 11.5. It's another example of Blizzard offering story in the game that if you don't care about, you don't need to care about. If it's not, if the tales of Jaina and all of the mages of the Kirin Tor and Caligos and everything going on there, if that doesn't interest you, I don't think you have to do this quest chain. With the upcoming 11.1 patch, it does require you to finish certain campaign quests, but that is not one of them. There's no meaningful, I don't think there's any actual rewards. There's a title at the end, Witness to the Kirin Tor. Essentially, literally what you did was just watch the story play out. And so, again, that's kind of great. If you want the story, there it is. If you want to devote, I don't know, it wasn't even an hour, I don't think, maybe a half hour or something. I didn't do it all at once, so I don't quite remember. But if you want to devote that kind of time to the story, go for it. And if you don't have to. I enjoyed it. It didn't blow me away, but it didn't need to blow me away. It's more, it's like demanding that every page of a novel somehow be the climax or, amazing or a car chase. You need substance. You need to buy into characters. And certainly with the Kirin Tor and with Dalaran and the demise of Dalaran, and what's going on with Jaina and what's going on with Caligos all of a sudden, to some level, if you're in the story, you're invested in those characters. And I think, if you're a true fan of story, it has nothing to do with Horde or Alliance. You probably, I could be wrong, but you probably can appreciate story for the faction that you're not on. And so even if you're, diehard Horde fan, I'm hoping, well, actually, I don't care. You can do what you want, but I assume people can enjoy the story of Jaina and the ongoing adventures, essentially, of that potential romance, past romance, the politics that's involved in all of this. You can enjoy that and not root for their side. So I thought it was well. I thought it was done well. I liked the story. I enjoyed being a part of it. The questing is whatever. It's funny being in an MMO. It's some people, I think, would, if you just said, hey, press play, I want to watch this questline story play out and not do anything, you would. And I think sometimes I'm in the mood to do that. I would just sit there and be entertained by the stories in the World of Warcraft. Sometimes running around and collecting 8 things and bringing it back is a very strange way to get the next few moments of a story that's playing out before you, but that's kind of the deal we all make, right? That's part of being here. So yeah, bottom line, I enjoyed the quest line. Head out to do that. I forget where you pick that up, but it's very easy to find. And then, of course, the last thing that I've kind of been up to is Plunderstorm. That's right, Plunderstorm is back. It is live. It is in there in that game mode button that I pointed out a little while ago. A lot of things are the same, and I think that's good. I think Plunderstorm was pretty popular. The gameplay, hey, again, people who want Fortnite, go play Fortnite. This is WoW's version of a thing. And frankly, I think they did it well. They got me, and I am not a PvP player. I'm not a group player. And talk about something with no story. Well, that's Plunderstorm. And yet, despite all of that, I found the fun in that mode. I enjoyed sneaking around and just collecting as much as I could without getting into any battles. And it happened again. Plunderstorm, the gameplay is very similar. There's some new powers in there a little bit, but a lot of things that are the same. The gameplay is similar. The feeling is different, and I'll talk about some of the different things. And by now, of course, you know what they've done. They got rid of the renown track, so if you wanted all 40 things that are on offer, you didn't have to go and hit 40 levels of renown and keep rising to the whichever highest piece of loot, plunder, whatever that you wanted to get. They did away with that system, and I think they were wise to get rid of that system. I think the switch over to the plunder store, where you earn plunder and then you go into the store and you spend it as you want, I think is great. I think it's also great that everything that was on offer from Plunderstorm 1 is now available in that plunder store. So if you missed out, if you didn't care, and you lamented, oh wow, a lot of hype around this and I skipped it the first time, and you want to get in there, or you just wanted the last thing and didn't want to grind all the way and you're like, screw that, they're not going to get me to do that. Well, maybe you will now, because you don't have to grind. You just go get the amount of currency that you need. I believe the most expensive thing on there are the mounts, and they're 5,000 each. There are 2 new mounts on offer. As I recall, everything from original Plunderstorm is about 80,000 something plunder. There's about 36,000 plunder worth of new items. And in my show notes, I have a little section, all the stuff that I'm kind of talking to you about, including one line that says, I bought the 2 mounts for 5,000 each and a bunch of other stuff. I only need blank more to finish up. And not gonna lie, that number started at half. I was like, oh, I have about 18,000. I only need 18,000 more. And then it was 15,000, and then it was 10, and then it was 6. It was 6 going into earlier today. And I thought, well, I'll play a match. And then I got like 1,500 plunder, so now I have only 4,500 to go. So yeah, I delayed recording until I could proudly say that I have bought everything in the plunder store. So I am, I'm kind of done with Plunderstorm, which is good. I think I had enough of it. I enjoyed all of it. Every now and then I have a crappy run and I feel bad, or I, just don't get as far as I want. But really, I played a handful of matches a day, never more than like 6 or 7. I played for about 7 or 8 different days, not all in a row, just every now and then I'd think of it and I'd play. And I got all of that stuff. So it's not hard. I was averaging, I didn't keep track, but I kind of wish I had, but I was getting roughly 1,000 plunder per round, sometimes more, especially if you hit the daily quest. This is about 850 for the daily quest, and then there's other quests that come up that are 250. So it was not uncommon for me to get 1,000. Now I had a couple today. As soon as I turned that corner, I'm like, ooh, 4,500. I'll just play. It's like, 5 more matches. I'll get there. I think I had 120. I think I died first in one of them. I had a couple stinkers. But then, we picked up steam again, and now I'm done. So, not bad. What I found, that 1,000, that was definitely higher than I was getting the first time. And I'll tell you why. It is not because I'm a better Plunderstormer. Although, I think I did get 2 kills this time. 2. I'm very proud. Total, not in one day. My goodness. The game did feel different, though. There was less combat. There was less PvPing. Sometimes it just literally felt like there were fewer people on the map, and I didn't really understand that, because a lot of times when I would look and be like, 57 or 60 or, pretty full. And then I would see nobody. And then it'd be like, oh, 10 players remain. I'm like, what the heck? And so I got second once. Literally, how far can I get without killing anybody? You can get to second. It's not bad. And I had a few other top fives, number 5 on my very last run. So it was like, ooh, I have enough to buy the stuff, but, just going to keep playing, see what happens. And got top 5, got to the tiniest circle. Like I got right to the bitter end, but I'm beating nobody if we get to the bitter end. So yeah, fewer people in the matches. And again, that was fun for me. I wanted to just run around and collect stuff and see if I could sneak around a bit, see if I could get out of jams. And I guess that was sometimes it. People were less likely to pursue. If you hit somebody, there's an initial scuffle. And then if I kind of dodge and weave and run, fewer people like, oh no, you get back here, you little gnome. No, they kind of let me go. And so, yeah, I think that maybe people recognizing that this is maybe a majority, for the majority of players, a collection mode, not a PvP mode, not a stripped down Battle Royale PvP mode. And I think that's okay. Play the game you want to play it the way you want to play it. I wonder if that means there should be a second version of the Plunderstorm. I mean, they added a practice mode, which still seems completely useless to me. I don't know why it's there. Do they need to drop practice mode and just put in a more competitive mode? Will they add a laddering, ranking, whatever system, a competitive Plunderstorm mode, and the normal track mode? And I guess that would just further bifurcate the player base in that, okay, if you're like me, you're never going to go into the ranked challenge mode. Oh, well, maybe if they incentivize it, who knows? I don't know. And then maybe everyone just does that anyway and we get back to the same place. I'm not sure. Maybe if you want to play Fortnite, you play Fortnite. Maybe that's the answer. Bottom line is, I think it's good. I think it is certainly something that if they bring back every now and then, I'm down. I'll hop in. Especially, I think they fine-tuned it well this time. Another change that they made was the ability to pick your own landing zone. So I'm not sure how many they put on there, 12, maybe 15 or so. And I love that they rank them. Green, easy, not a lot of a low density of loot, a low density of rares. That said, I went green almost every time. It was kind of fun. I essentially picked the rightmost middle green circle and just got really good and really knew my way around all those rares. So you hit a rare every time. As you're going down, sometimes you'll see a shadow heading in your direction and somebody's going to land with you, or you have time to kind of dodge and hit a different rare. All of those little things and knowing my way around that part of the map really well, I think that was kind of a key to my not wanting to PvP and yet being pretty successful. So if you haven't jumped in or just haven't spent much time in the Plunderstorm, I think give it a try. I think give it a second try. You can get the items you want in not a lot of time. I guess the last thing I'll say is I was not one who was big on efficiency either. I want to kind of qualify all of this. I know some people they've got the thing worked out. Okay, I do this, and if I'm in at 3 minutes, then I'm running into the storm because I'm probably not going to get any more plunder. It's not worth it. I'll just hop out and get into another one. And I never did that. It's funny. I'm terrible at this game, but I'm also weirdly competitive in that I don't want to just die for no reason. I want to really wring out as much as I can. And I always kind of wanted to see how high I could get with being not very skilled. So even that last run, I was like, oh, hey, I've got what I need, but nope, not going to run out there. So that's just me. I mean, obviously people can do whatever they want. But yeah, that was not being me being uber efficient either. So still worth getting in there and doing that. I guess next time, if it comes, I assume it will come. I think it's been popular this time as well. I do kind of hope that they find another zone. Although I enjoyed it, I think it'd be fun to do this in another zone. So if they, if they need to hire me to pick a map and build it out, let me know. I'm happy to help. All right, enough about me bumbling around Azeroth. Let's get into some news.
You bring news?
What news from the mainland?
Have you any news?
And let's start off with a little news from the classic side first. Kind of run through some updates there. Season of Discovery Phase 7 went live on January 28th, a few days ago. I have not been following Season of Discovery very closely, but there was one big change that caught my attention, and that is that all the runes are now available from a vendor for basically free. I think I heard they're 1 copper each. So yes, you may have heard the joke. They have literally taken the Discovery out of the Season of Discovery. It's interesting, and I haven't played Season of Discovery kind of since the beginning. I enjoyed it, but I just don't literally have time for it. It sounds like from what I gather, that in reality, for many players, all they did was remove the Wowhead research phase of Season of Discovery. If you wanted to get those runes, you hit the Wowhead, check out the location, you go and you get it. And I think they're sort of bowing to the reality of the player base that very few people, at least at this point, if those things have been data mined and listed, not everybody's running around the world just to go get the right runes. God forbid they're actually not even looking at a list. They're just wandering the earth, hoping to find these runes. It's interesting. I would love to know, and I wonder if Blizzard has numbers. I would love to know what percentage of the player base really did put on blinders and truly did Discovery the way it was intended. Yeah, just out of curiosity. I think the change is fine. It means the focus of the game it really is the arcade style action RPG powers set in a classic WoW experience instead of the Discovery part. Like that's the new focus. But hey, Discovery's still there if you want to do it. So more options, always good. All right, related to SoD, of course, on January 28th, Karazhan Crypts, the dungeon opened, and the Scourge invasion began, and coming soon, February 6th, we have Naxxramas opening. If you are playing in Cataclysm Classic, the Joyous Journeys experience buff has returned. All characters that are below level 85 are automatically getting 50% XP faster, a boost of 50%. The buff lasts until the next major content release. And last I looked around for news, there had not been an announcement as to when the Dragon Soul raid launches, when that next content release is. But the roadmap says winter, so my hunch is likely late February, early March. That's my guess. And briefly in the Anniversary Classic world, which I have not even set foot in, sadly, kind of. Phase 2 has launched with Dire Maul, the Lord Kazakh and Azura Ghost bosses, the world bosses, the Honor System, Warsong Gulch, and Alterac Valley Battlegrounds. Phase 3 is scheduled for March 20th, and that's going to include Blackwing Lair, Dark Moon Fair, and other features. I have nothing else to rhyme with Fair and Lair, so sadly. Yes, but the Anniversary Classic world getting its phases rolled out as we journey along in all of those flavors of classic. Okay, on to retail WoW news. In addition to Plunderstorm, if you are trying to fight through that content lull of waiting for 11.1 and waiting for the new raid and dungeons and everything, your other limited time activity is, of course, the Turbulent Timeways. And if you were waiting for me to tell you about it, it's too late. Sorry. It's too late only because time walking, they're rolling out, I think it was 8 weeks. Then I keep hearing 7 weeks, whatever. Essentially time walking every single week. And if you get in and do 4 time walking dungeons, you can get a buff. If you can get that buff for 5 weeks, 5 weeks in a row, or just 5 weeks, I don't remember. If you do that, you can earn the Timely Busby mount. And there are not 5 weeks left of this, so you cannot start it now when you hear my voice. Hopefully you are already doing it. But the one little bit of advice I can give you, and I'm not doing this because I don't tend to do time walking dungeons, but when I first heard this, I thought, oh man, that's a lot of dungeons each week, like 4 dungeons for, someone who does not do any dungeons. And if you're like one notch above me, like you don't mind getting in, doing some time walking, but it still seemed like a lot, know this. If this is a character that you're not playing all the time, meaning, you're probably leveling them, if you go in and do your 4 dungeons initially, you'll get the buff. The buff lasts 2 hours. If you sit that character, put them away, log out, come back in a week with presumably, you didn't play for 2 hours after the dungeon, that buff will still be up. And if you can complete another dungeon in that 2 hours, you'll get the buff back. It'll reset to 2 hours. And getting the buff is what you need to do each week, not do 4 time walking dungeons. You just need to do 4 time walking dungeons to initially get the buff, or get it again if it runs out. So if you're doing that right now, you can just, if you log in for the week and you've got the buff up, go do 1 dungeon, it'll reset, put that character away, and you can come back the next week. So you can lighten your load a little bit. So that does end, I forget, February, middle of February. It's essentially right before the content comes out. So yeah, hopefully you're doing it if that's something you want to do. In other news, you can now, I noticed this the other day, you can now, in the character select screen, you can search for characters by basically any word you want to type in there. And if you, what that means is you can start to find people by servers. Now you can't group them easily by server yet, but this is a step in the right direction. And, I know this doesn't affect everybody, but trying to move 64 characters around and put them in different orders, and it's a mess. I don't like it. I'm not really complaining because it's, not the most important problem in the game, but it's a pain. It really is. So this is a good advancement. If I want to pull up everybody on a certain server, you can type that name in at the search bar at the top and it will just list those characters. Here's the funny thing. Your search term can be anything. Give me all of my paladins. Give me all of my characters on the Garona server. Give me everybody with this name, whatever it is. Well, one of my Horde servers is Earthen Ring, and so I went to pull up all my Earthen Ring characters, and then was like, why is that character listed? They're not on that server. And I realized it was pulling up any Earthen characters that I had, any of the Earthen race. So it really is just a search term. whatever you want, but it's going to pull in whatever fits. It doesn't discriminate much. So kind of a dumb search. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean dumb as in it's just a word. It says, hey, does this character have this word anywhere associated with them? Great. Pull them up. More changes are coming with the character screen, and they are coming in 11.1 when you're going to be able to create multiple camps. Camps of 4, these scenes that we have, well, the one scene that we have, you're going to be able to create, I think, up to 20. And that got me really excited on, somebody posted that online, maybe on Blue Sky, and I got really excited because I thought, ooh, 20, 4 characters each, I can do math, that's 80. But I have not heard of anything related to boosting the cap on the number of characters from 65. We're still at 65 as far as I know, and I'm not willing to create characters that I'm just going to throw away just to test that out because I don't like doing that. It seems mean. So maybe, I don't know. I mean, obviously you could have a camp of 3 because these are your 3 mages, or a camp of, whatever you want, just to set up different camps and organize your characters that way. But again, it's a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit weird. If I have 8 characters on a server and I'd like to group them, well, that's two camps. I mean, I guess everything just has to be multiples of 4. I'm looking forward to seeing this feature and playing with it and seeing how useful it's going to be to me. I think it will be. Ultimately, I'm going to be able to fit everybody into, 15, 16 camps. So, okay, that's getting close. That's at least not scrolling through 60. That's good. That's an improvement. I will take that. But speaking of 11.1, let's dive into what is coming when 11.1 launches on... Dun dun dun. Do we know? I don't think we know. I don't think we have a date for when 11.1 drops. I think everybody assumes that... Let's see, Plunderstorm runs until... February 18th. Plunderstorm runs until February 18th. I think people assume the following week, February 25th. But without an announcement, maybe it'll be the 18th. I'm just not sure. But it's coming. And so what is coming in this big feature update? There are the new warband camp screens. Multiple different screens are coming, different scenes that you can choose from. I think you have to collect them somehow in game. I'm looking forward to hearing about that. I have not heard the details on those. There is a quality of life feature coming in 11.1 that I'm really excited about, and it is updates to the quest log. There are going to be tabs added to the quest log and tracking features. If you are someone who has been using World Quest Tracker as an add-on, it sounds like this may allow you to drop that add-on and then some, because frankly, there's a lot of things getting added in here. You're going to have the ability to tab between different quests and events. And so some of these timed events that come up on the hour, on the half hour, the theater troupe, the various time quests, world quests coming in on the half week, whatever, like all of these things that are on all these different rotations, they are going to be sort of grouped in that way, and you're going to be able to see what's coming up, what the events are that are coming in that zone, in that area. I think this is going to be great. It looks like a lot of organization that is well needed, much needed. There have been so many things added to the map and so many icons added to the map since Legion, and things just piling up. And it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to look on the map and see all those icons and buttons and things and stuff. Well, more help is coming. More things are being added to the map legend, and I think the map legend is a great addition that we just got recently. And so this is going to be super useful. Keep your eyes out for this feature, and it may be one of those things that comes in and it's a little not as streamlined as it might be, but this kind of feels like a new thing. So I'm happy to give them some time and feedback if need be to get this smoothed out. But I think this is going to be a good addition to the game for a lot of people. And of course, there's content coming, right? This is 11.1. There's a new zone called Undermine, hence the Undermined patch name is what we are calling it. It's very goblin themed, and I'm sure that you have heard something about it somewhere or have heard about it. I'm not going to go through the entire thing. There is, even just in the BattleNet launcher, there is a good overview. New content update. There's an article about the drive system. There is a patch overview, which goes through kind of everything that's going on. Check those out, but I'll hit some of the highlights here. The four goblin cartels are all going to be represented in the city of Undermine, this long-awaited legendary city. And of course, that means there are 4 new renowned tracks to dive into with rewards and grinding of levels and things like that. It sounds like it's going to be similar to what's going on in Ashkahet with the different cartels and the different, you pick one week and you can then switch to another one the next week. So you can push all 4 of them. It's not just one or the other. And so I think that's an interesting new way to do things. And again, kind of the second implementation of that we saw with the launch of The War Within. Of course, we are getting a customizable ground mount, the DRIVE drive. It's essentially dynamic flying for ground mounts, but also customizable. It is called the G99 Breakneck Vehicle. And the customization thing is kind of here to stay, right? We started that with dragon mounts in Dragonflight. It's continued with the Season 1 Delver's Dirigible, where you get the mount, but then you can spend that undercoin to buy new customizations for the dirigible flying machine thing. And this is very similar. You're going to get a base vehicle, and I counted about 19 different customizations in 5 different areas, so at least to start. There is a new dungeon coming, of course. Operation Floodgate is centered on essentially a plot to blow up a dam that would end up flooding the Ringing Depths. Ringing Depths? Boy, I can never remember which one that is. There is going to be obviously a new Mythic Plus pool for those who partake in that. You're not looking for details on that from me, I guarantee that. 2 new delves are coming in the Undermine zone, along with an entire new delve season. So in addition to the ones that are on the board right now, we're going to add 2 more. There is going to be a new customizable mount. Getting a pattern there. As part of this delve season, this one is called the Gob Trotter. There is a new Zekvir style boss that's going to be lingering on those higher level delves again. And our trusty, chatty companion Bran, who originally was not slated for Season 2, but Blizzard made the change to keep Bran in place. He's going to get a tank spec. And so if you've been dreaming of sending him in there, he is going to be able to act as a tank. It's going to be interesting to see how that works. Hopefully that works well. One of the reasons to keep Bran in was to keep his leveling, so you're not going to have to start from scratch with a new companion. You can keep Bran's level and just kind of build from there. And of course, there is a new raid the liberation of Undermine. This is a campaign against goblin bad guy Jaster Gallywix. So without diving into any story, because, well, I haven't because I don't want to. I want to see those things when they come out. But yeah, raid, a lot of goblin stuff going on. Apparently, as silly as some of it might seem, it does tie into the Xalatath story. So we're not here just for hijinks and shenanigans. We are going to get some good story bits. And there's one more feature with raids that is interesting that you might not think I was going to mention, and that is raid renown. This idea that inside of the raid there is a renown track, and the more you do, the more you move up that renown track. And that has nothing to do with me yet. No, I'm not announcing that I'm going to take the plunge into mythic raiding. That's not what comes next. But I am curious to see how this system ages, because these systems get put in place as you know they do, and they'll be in place for a long time. And when I come back to farm these things, I should be able to just kind of cruise through this renown track. So initially, the way it's going to work is each week you can kill a number of bosses, do a number of things to earn up to a certain point. You can get that one renown track for the week. And then that's it. You can't go any further. But if you have fallen behind, you're going to be able to catch back up to, I believe, catch back up to by doing not unlimited, but you're going to be able to essentially do more in a week if you're falling behind. Well, the way I fall behind in raids is usually about 4 years. So I think in 2029, when I go to attempt this raid, dear God, Blizzard, don't make me wait 4 years. But I'll talk about that in a second. I imagine I will be able to race through this renown track fairly quickly. Go stomp some bosses. Maybe it's, obviously a few times through the raid, soloing the raid. But I hope that works that way, because, there's going to be some neat stuff in there. And what I liked hearing is that the renown track, you can move through it regardless of your level. So if you're mythic raiding, great. If you're normal raiding, you're still earning the same amounts of renown and still working your way up that track at the same pace. And I think that's very interesting. Essentially, yeah, there's going to be benefits to raiding at certain levels, and then there are going to be other rewards and other things that are, do not care about level. They don't focus on level, and I think that's interesting. I think that's a good thing, a good double track to have for the part of the game that I don't get to kind of participate in. Which means, hey, does story mode contribute to this? And I didn't even bother researching that. There's no way story mode could contribute to this. Essentially, you need to kill a bunch of bosses, and by doing, even mobs and sub bosses and stuff, you can get enough points to get your level of renown in that week. Story mode, kind of by definition right now has one boss. That's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get you that level per week, certainly. So no, it doesn't seem likely that story mode can have any part of that system, which is fine. It just makes it all the more timely to announce that you're adding #follower raids coming soon, right? I shouldn't say that. This is the news segment. You might think I just announced, but maybe if I announce it, it'll come true. They'll have to, because it's in the news. #follower raids. A couple more little things on 11.1. The traditional tier set structure is changing, and that seems like a big change. On offer are going to be role-based tier sets as well as specialization-based tier sets. So the 36 specs in the game, the various roles, tank, healers, support is really support. I don't know. And DPS. So different tier sets, different bonuses, doing different things. That's pretty interesting. For those who do this sort of thing, there is a new PvP arena coming. It can be found in the new city. I saw a picture of it. It really kind of looks amazing, actually. Not that I ever step foot into PvP arenas, but maybe I could just go watch. Do they let you go in and watch? Like, can I go into a PvP? I mean, there's plenty of seats. It's a really cool looking venue. Can I buy a ticket? Is there a PvP spectator mode? Did I just invent that for Blizzard? Maybe if I announce that, that'll come true too. I'm just going to start saying things as if they're true, and I'm going to let people run around and invent them and put them out. So let's see. Plunderstorm is coming to Ashenvale, off the top of my head. PvP arenas are going to have tickets for sale that you can spectate. You just go in the stands and you watch. You can't get hurt, hopefully. And what else did I invent? Oh, and of course, follower raids are coming. All of those things are true. Especially if you're listening on April 1st in a couple months. That'd be great. There are a ton of other details, of course, and spoilers galore out in the world if you want. Wowhead's preview page is linked in the show notes, so whatever parts of the game you're into, go look those up if you're interested. And hey, buckle up for a crazy ride into 11.1. On the holiday front, Love's in the Air has launched on February 3rd and will run to February 17th. Get in there and try and get your love rocket, or whatever the heck they call it now. There is I believe a new mount, the Love Witch's Sweeper mount, which I am a sucker for brooms due to a past life as a sweeper, and yeah, that looks pretty darn cool. The Love Witch's Sweeper mount. There are, of course, some pets and transmog, and there's the love tokens, the currency, and it says this year love tokens are now warbound, so you can share it amongst your people. You can queue in for the Crown Chemical Company instance to try and get those prizes once a day. I think the way they've changed it is you can now attempt to get this on your first fight of the day with Apothecary Hummel, so only that first time. And that is account wide, so once a day, no banging your head against the wall forever. But get in there, get out there, find the love. Hope you get what you want out of it this year. And last thing in the news is that Lunar Festival went live on the 28th as well. It will run for 2 weeks until February 11th. So 2 weeks. Lunar Festival is the nod to the Chinese celebration of the Lunar New Year. And it features, dragon costumes and fireworks, theming that's kind of borrowed from Chinese culture. In Azeroth, the heart of the celebration is in Moonglade. So when you pick up quests from some of the major cities, essentially you do a couple things. They're going to port you over to Moonglade, where there's more questing going on. So, Lunar Festival in Azeroth at least has a slightly druidic feeling to it. But at the heart of the Lunar Festival is traveling to all the various cities and towns of Azeroth and honoring the elders. Ancestors from all the races in Azeroth, at least those playable ones. This too is a central idea in Chinese culture, as well as many other Asian societies. One central pillar of Confucianism is filial piety, a respect for your parents and family, and that extends to deceased family, even from previous generations, even people you never met. In Confucianism and in a lot of cultures, honoring one's ancestors is important. And I think this is a real-world cultural practice that fits really well inside of Azeroth. To me, it does seem a little strange, a little odd to have such obvious Chinese theming that does not actually have its roots in Pandaren culture. So it seems like a weird, not miss, it just seems odd to me. I do wonder sometimes if players from some of these Asian cultures, many of which were influenced by Confucianism and still are, I wonder if they see the Azerothian treatment of the Lunar New Year as respectful. I hope so. I feel like it is. I feel like it's well done. I feel like it's not... that it's treated seriously and well done in the game. So yeah, I'm curious. You never know how other people react to certain things like that. I have chosen this year to run one character around to all the elders, and I chose my Tauren Paladin because I've done Alliance characters for Lunar New Year before, for Lunar Festival. So this year I've got a level 48. Actually, she just hit 49 because she's been hitting some elders. She's going to do the leveling. It's a good, it's good leveling, good passive leveling. Frankly, it's a good way for me to have one foot in Azeroth while hanging out with my wife, watching TV or something, playing on the laptop. It's a good way to passively, slowly collect coins of ancestry, which is the currency for this holiday. And one thing I noticed, I have 7 achievements that were undone for Lunarfest. Not in the past, I've not focused a lot on holidays, and that's starting to change. And frankly, I've already done 3 of those achievements today because, I kind of didn't start recording early. I just kind of wanted to play the game. I thought, I'll hump in and do a Plunderstorm, and then, like I said, I had to finish Plunderstorm. Got there, and then I thought, I'll run her to a couple of elders, do that while I'm getting set up, and I just kind of kept going. And then all of a sudden, I was doing a quest chain in Winter Spring, and I don't even know why. I think it might have just been at some point. I was like, wait a minute. I think this is just a zoned quest line. Why am I here? What am I doing? What happened? Something in Orgrimmar said, hey, go to Winter Spring. I think I must have hit a breadcrumb quest to go to a zone. That must have been what that was. I thought I was just, hey, I've got a leftover quest. I should just do that. That's kind of the problem with having so many characters is you hop into their life and they were, they're paused in some stasis of, hey, I've got things to do. And you haven't played me for 2 years, so... And I don't remember what I was trying to get to. Sometimes I take notes on those things, but I've been kind of bad at that, frankly, since starting the podcast. My amount of notes about playing have gone down. My notes are now about talking about playing. It's interesting. Getting back to Lunarfest, a couple more achievements. Basically now, I think all I have left is go and collect a lot more zones. So essentially, you're going to find the elders in a variety of zones. If you're curious, just check the achievements tab and go find holidays, world events. It's under world events and then Lunarfest, and you'll see all the different zones where there are people hanging out, elders to respect. This year there are some additional items available. There's transmog sets that are coming out. There are some fireworks themed back pieces that frankly look quite dangerous. They look kind of cool. Various weapons transmogs and a new flying mount, the Lunar Launcher. Frankly, it looks like one of those goblin rocket mounts was swallowed up by a dragon. It's kind of an unholy matrimony there, but it's interesting. I like it. That is actually I have enough coins on one character to go buy that, and it is listed at 75 coins of ancestry. So if you need to collect to go get that, there you go. Also new this year, there are 8 new elders, 2 in each of the Kaz-Algar zones. And if you can get out there and honor all 8 of those, there, of course, will get you the Elders of Kaz-Algar achievement. And, of course, all the old elders are still there. It was great. Just a couple hours ago, it was great to see my favorite elder, Elder Wheathoof in Thunder Bluff. If you want to hear my thoughts on Ahab Wheathoof and a little segment I did on him, the character in the game and the real life person behind that character, and all of that and how it connected to a friend of mine who passed away in 2024. Check out episodes 6 and 7. Episode 6 is where I talk about Ahab Wheathoof, and then episode 7 has a brief follow-up, I think, at the end of the episode. No need to retell that story here, but yeah, yep, just nice to see Ahab Wheathoof in 2 places in the game. It makes me happy. It brings a smile on my face. So, as I said, you can find the list of the elders in the achievements tab, or you can hop onto the Wowhead page. Additionally, there are add-ons that you can use that will put a little thingy on your map. Oddly, I have that add-on, and I'm trying to figure out how to have it show me all of the elders, even if I've already collected them on a different character. I've got to dive in and do that because a bunch of those are just not there, although this character has not collected them. But anyway. Last thing I'll say about this that can trip you up, and that is the fact that the elders appear in the original versions of the zones. And that means in various places you might not find the elder. Even if you've got a thing on your map, an add-on or something, you're like, I know it's here. Remember that there are a few zones that are phased, and they have been advanced in the story, essentially. Like we were talking about in the interview with the Sneck of Vol'dun, the idea that some of these zones have advanced. So if you are in Undercity, Tearsfall Glades, Blasted Lands, Teldrassil, Darkshore, Darnassus, and Silithus, remember that if you don't find that elder, you're not in the right phase. You've just got to go find the Bronze Dragon Zidormi and ask her to change the phase, go back to the original, or how it used to look, or however it's phrased. So Lunarfest ends February 11th. So if you're interested, get out there and respect your elders.
Ancestors watch over you.
And all this talking about the news literally has me thirsty. So I think we need to find a place to get a drink of the month. But I'm so thirsty that before we leave Moonglade, I'm going to pop a Moon Glow because it's a seasonal drink. It is a strangely glowing alcoholic beverage, and when you consume it, you start to shimmer and give off a nice lunar radiance. So that certainly wets the whistle a little bit, and now I can do some portaling and traveling, and we are going to Revendreth. Before we tackle a new undertaking, I need to get a drink nearby.
By the light, I could use another drink.
Now, I did notice that I could stop into the town of Darkhaven in Revendreth and head over to the inn, and I know that innkeeper Treem Winefang would sell me a drink, but that whole creepy Venthyr vibe is not doing it for me this month. So, instead, we are going to go to Pridefall Hamlet, the first area in Revendreth when you arrive. We'll skip the whole tavern scene altogether, and we're going to have our drink of the month outdoors. Not too far from the Flight Master is Slab Chop. How can you not buy something from a guy named Slab Chop? He is the vendor of chugs, chews, and stews. I mean, how can we not stop here? This is like the gas station hot dog of getting a drink in Azeroth. And what is the liquid courage for this upcoming raid of the month? Shadeskin brandy, right from the bottle. Right. It burns all the way down, burns like sin, as they say here in Revendreth. But a little of that, feeling loosened up, ready to go. We're still a little ways from this month's destination for Raid of the Month. So as we fly over, I want to pose a question of the month.
You sure got a lot of questions.
First time in a while we've done question of the month. And the question is this. Based on last episode, we talked at length about the Sethrak race becoming a playable race, what that might entail, what that might look like. And as we also mentioned, there are a lot of other races and other WoW fans plugging for different races to become playable. So here's the question. What should the next playable race be? Sethrak, Ogres, Jinyu, Hosen, Valkyr, Naga, Orcs, as I think I mentioned at one point in the interview. What would you like to see? Something else? I'm going to try and post this on the social medias as best I can. I don't think Blue Sky has a polling feature. I know Twitter does. I'll put it there. I'll put the question out and see. But respond wherever you, wherever you make responses to things. Gmail, Twitter, Blue Sky. I'll try and check Facebooky things and what have you. Or email me. Just send me an email. I will report the answers when I get them. Hopefully by the next episode or the next full episode. I guess we'll see. Let me know what you think. What is the next playable race? Or what should be the next playable race? If you've got a guess as to what you think Blizzard's going to do, I'd love to hear that too, I suppose. But really, yeah. What do you want to see? What do you want to be piloting around Azeroth? All right, we are pulling up to a very large looming castle. It is time for the raid of the month. And this month, something a little special. This is going to be my first attempt at a Shadowlands raid solo. Shadowlands being 2 expansions ago. Should be available. Poking around online, it looked like people were able to do it solo. Maybe there'll be some troubles here and there. I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see how this goes. Let's pull up the adventure journal. The adventure guide. And the adventure guide, we'll click on raids. We'll go find Shadowlands and Castle Nathria. And Castle Nathria is a 10-wing raid. The bosses are Shriekwing, Huntsman Altamore, Sun King Salvation, Artificer Zymox, Hungering Destroyer, Lady Enerva Darkvein, the Council of Blood, Sludgefist. The penultimate boss is the Stone Legion Generals, and I certainly heard a lot of griping about them back in the day. And the ultimate boss, the final boss, is Sire Denathrius. Now, looking through the loot, I looked through the loot table a moment ago for the whole raid, and I gotta be honest, it's interesting. There are no mounts, there are no pets, there are a crap ton of conduits and those legendary memories. And I really kind of forgot the role that those things played in Shadowland, partly because it wasn't the biggest part of my game in Shadowlands, but man, there are so many of these conduits and memories on the loot table. And it's always, kind of interesting, maybe even a little sad when these big complex systems are put into the game and they do not progress after one expansion. And so you go back and, if you never played Shadowlands, you would probably be thinking, what in tarnation? It's a clean podcast, mostly. But what the heck are all of these things? And how meaningless are they? I don't know if they mean anything as you're playing through Shadowlands now, if you're at level. I somehow doubt it. Like, all of the leveling in WoW now is so fast that you're not going to get into any expansion. You're going to, fly through zones. So, yeah, at some point I will wander into Shadowlands and do some leveling, but it won't be soon. That Zandalari warrior is still walking around looking tough. So let's do this. I am all queued up to go. I've got 53 bag slots that are open. We are set to Mythic, and I'm going to run through the green swirly, and let's get this started.
It was too easy to breach the castle doors. Our former master is daring us to venture deeper into his stronghold.
Be on your guard, mortals. Denathrius has the advantage here. He will use all his guile to thwart us.
Okay, Prince Renathal. And what's his name? General Draven. Kicking us off. We're going to get a quest. I am not going to collect 4 Sludge Fist heads just to get 51 gold every once in a while. So I'm going to skip that quest.
We must give those who still follow the master a better option.
Heading into this, I am running on my Night Elf main, Feral Druid. For what it's worth, I am doing the Druid of the Claw. I am item level 609.75. Almost 610. I have a 606 in every slot now, a 610 weapon, and my Circe's Circlet is maxed out at 658. So that's where I am. It's kind of topped out for kind of my play style. It's going to take a little bit of work to upgrade things from there if I want to. I was doing some math on that today, which I think, frankly, is the first time I've done math on the gear upgrade system. Okay. I see the first lamplighter guy running around named Mudlump is a level 62 plus, and of course he is grayed out. He doesn't die quickly. Okay. So he ran away, so that was clearly a thing. Dropped a lamp, ran away, and now I'm stuck in a thing. This is about the least exciting start to a raid ever. Slowly our 3 NPCs enter this area. The Accuser, the Harvester of Pride.
Welcome! I have so been looking forward to your arrival. Let's see, who have we here? Our wayward prince, of course. The deposed Accuser, ever so earnest. And our mutinous former general, along with a contingent of mortal rabble eager to meet their end.
We tire of your preening, Denathrius. Come and face us!
I seem to recall a similar bluster from you not so long ago, Renathal. And we both know how that ended. It seems you failed to learn your lesson. Perhaps I was too lenient. I am, after all, known for my compassionate nature. Let us begin your atonement with a suitable challenge. shall we?
Okay. All right, well, this took a little while to get started. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little slow, but we got our hands full all of a sudden. We have these 4 dudes who kind of wander in, and the boss, Shriekwing. And I have to say, I am not really taking damage, so that's good. I am slowly taking down the boss. I have been stunned for a second. There we go.
The chamber is ours! But I suspect Denathrius has retreated to his sanctum.
There is a passage beyond the kennels that leads down into the castle's underpinnings. From there, we can reach the anima stores and stem the flow into the maw.
If we are to have any chance against Denathrius, we must deprive him of his most prized possessions. I know the path we must take to reach them.
Okay, so in the first boss, which did not take too long, not too bad, I ended up with 3 new appearances, a belt, leggings, and slippers of the Forgotten Heretic. Ah, yes. I think I saw those in a store, but just not in my size the other day. All right. Onwards. I think we need to fast forward a bit. 2 bosses to go. Stone Legion Generals and Sire Denathrius. In what has been a ridiculously long session. General Grashal and General Kahl. Stone Legion Generals are down after far too long. And then there was one.
I shall assist our guests.
So I've been at this for
Once they have
at least an hour and a half, even with some of the weird delays. I'm not gonna lie. Listening to the RP talk is driving me a little crazy. Alright, Denathrius is ready, although I feel like that sword's gonna come out at some point. But alright, let's do this. Alright, 80%.
Confess your sins, lest they see. It is time to reveal your place, mortals.
Alright, let's attack that sword thing, I think.
Scream for me!
Scream for me. %, 2%, 1, and scene.
I am eternal.
Oh, maybe we do kill Sire Denathrius. Alright, I think that's it. Now we can go home.
Hello, Mawwalker.
It's been a while since I've been called Mawwalker. That takes me back. Alright. In Sinfall, and it just looks cool. You know, again, Shadowlands gets a lot of crap, but man, this really is spectacular. Kind of underappreciated, this zone. Now that I'm flying around, I'm up really high, getting the raid quests taken care of, and I mean, the verticality is just extreme and super, and the detail of the broken castle everywhere, like there's so much going on. It looks great. The castle complex is kind of phenomenal. It's like flying buttresses to the nth degree by just coming across this high ground, this Acropolis kind of area. The castle itself is just a squat, funny thing, like no other shape I've really seen. So that's really cool. Bridges everywhere, all of it ruling above this town that's around it. I mean, it's cool design. I don't even remember liking it this much when I was questing in it. Maybe that's part of the problem. All right. We're back in the symposium. After that, I needed another drink. Gonna go with Shadeskin Brandy tonight. Yeah. Shadeskin Brandy is going to finish the night off for us. Let's grab one of those. There we go. Well, what do we think of Castle Nathria? I mean, I don't think it's going to be a surprise. It's not my favorite raid. A couple reasons. Obviously, if there's no mount to hunt, that's, for me personally, and I think for a lot of people, that's one knock on a raid. If there's no end of the raid, big item, it's a little less attractive, There's a lot of Mog. There's a lot of appearances to get. I didn't really look at them, so I don't know A, how far along I am in them, and B, do I like them or not a lot. I'll check those out a little bit later. But they better be good, because it is not my inclination to go back in there. That was a lot. There's 10 bosses. It was not always clear which direction you needed to go to. As a farmer, coming in 4 years later, hugely overpowered, and nothing was hard in there. I mean, I died 3 times in that raid, and every single time it was from the dance moves. So then I had to stop and figure out why the heck I was dying. When I knew I was doing the dance moves right, had to jump. Okay. Nothing else even came close. Like the power level that we have now, this is easily soloable, and I'll be curious to see what the other Shadowland raids are. But it was not clear. The progression through wasn't clear, and I suppose that's maybe variety or choice when you're raiding, that you can choose different directions. That said, it seemed like there was always a path to go, and if I went the wrong way, I was going to hit some iron gates, and I wasn't allowed to go that way. So is it that idea of gatekeeping? I have 2 things in my head at once. One, I would love things to be as realistic as possible, and quite obviously, a giant castle is not going to have one path throughout its whole thing. Except that is what raids and instances and controlled encounters like this often are. Even sometimes if you go into a place that is normally a place in the world, but because you're in an instance, it is an instance version of that where, oh, this tunnel crumbled and you can't go down that hall, or there's a pile of rubble here and you can't go that way that you normally can. You've got those fake boundaries installed so that you stay on the ride. You stay, in the progression. So on one hand, I want an open-ish world, but on the other hand, I do want the progression. I want to go through it. I want to be led through it and make it somewhat obvious. And I guess the middle ground, which I would settle for, is an open world that isn't blocked off in weird ways so that you can just progress from place to place and kill the bosses you want, and you don't have to go in the order. But if you need me to go in the order, then I don't know, make it better. I'm not sure. As for profit, what did I get out of this? Looks like I sold about 340 gold worth of items. I have more, probably another, 50 or 60 in my bag, but those were all appearances that I think they're warbound appearances, so I can go trade them in at Covenants. So I won't sell those. So I got a bunch of appearances. I got about 340 gold. That is not a lot for a raid. It's certainly not a lot for more than an hour of raid. Another 100 from the quest that goes with it, but that's a one-time thing. Another 50 from another quest. So whoop-de-doo. 500-ish gold. Yeah, that's not enough for an hour's worth of labor. I would much rather run around Firelands a couple of times to, yeah. So as a farming raider, again, I'll look at the stuff, but this gets kind of a thumbs down from me, unless I see some appearances that I really want to grab. It took too long, and I know, I'll have to look at the actual time, but it was close to an hour and 20 minutes that I was in there. I'm sure the next time I do it, it would be under an hour because I wouldn't die a bunch of times. But under an hour is still a long time. Maybe people are out there speed running this at 30, 40 minutes. I have no idea, but I'm not going to get to that point because I don't think there's enough interest here. So, as always, I want to do all of them because I want to see the story. I want to feel that progression as we go through and, see what how it fits into everything. That said, it's 4 years later. And so, as always, I have to say I don't know how it fits into the bigger story because, I don't remember all that. So, this is another great example of why we need follower raids because I probably wouldn't be coming back to this. I would have done it in current content. I'd be happy with that. And, So, Castle Nathria. Nice to get into Shadowlands and see some of the end game content from 4 years ago, but not my favorite raid to run around in.
Let's get down to business.
Why not wrap up this slightly unusual episode in one of my favorite zones in the entire game, the Ghostlands. The main topic of this episode is not a large one. Frankly, there was no main topic until kind of the last minute. And it's not really a huge topic. This is kind of an episode without a lot of single focus topic, but that's okay. So I owe this topic to Denathar, the host of Azeroth United, a weekly podcast. I've mentioned him before. And something that came up on his recent episode, number 71, which was released on January 22nd, now a little bit ago. I've mentioned Denathar in the past. We seem to go back and forth occasionally, plugging each other's shows and praising each other. And I have to admit, this episode on January 22nd caused me to cringe not once, but twice. And I feel the need to respond to two things. His main topic and a statement that he made about me. Now, first the topic. Why did I cringe at his topic? Well, the topic was, why do we play World of Warcraft? And the entire time I've been working on solo queue, I have had in my notes, in my mind for years now, that very topic. Why do we play? That episode is still coming, waiting for the right moment, waiting for the right amount of, the right moment to for me to just jot more notes down and go crazy with it. Hasn't happened yet. It's coming. And I thought, oh no, he's put out an episode that I literally want to do. And he beat me. Essentially, he kind of beat me, and I was super grumpy for, I don't know, it was a few days. I put off listening to the episode. I did not. Sorry, Denathar. I did not check out the episode. And then I broke down and I listened. I'm like, all right, well, because I don't want to be, I still want to do my episode, and I don't want to be swayed by what other people have said or what they feel, or, and I don't want to feel like I'm just copying. Not that I was about to put this out this week, but I didn't want to feel like I'm just copying what other people are doing. It's really not what I want to do. But eventually, I don't know, maybe I missed his fun voice, and I finally clicked yes. I think I'd even listened to something after that. But anyway, I listened to the episode, and I was relieved, actually. He, and not surprisingly, he goes in some different directions from what I was thinking and what I was intending. And I really enjoyed the episode. Well done. If you were at all curious about the philosophical side of Warcraft and life, check that episode out for his thoughts on why we dive into this game. Why we spend time and money and energy and all of that, why we get into this game. And as I said, I enjoyed the episode. I know that my episode's going to go in some different directions, which is great. The second cringe was when Denathar besmirched my reputation, and I will not stand for this, in making his point that at its heart, WoW is a social game. He went out of his way to bring solo queue briefly into the discussion. Let me quote his own words. Why does it matter? It matters to me because World of Warcraft is a social game at its core. With all respect to the great Dave Gagne and his podcast Solo Queue, WoW is a social game, and if you choose to play it by yourself, that's fine. You can do that. It's a choice, but at its core, it is a social game. It's designed to be played with other people. End quote. Did you hear that? He claimed that I am great, and frankly, I take offense, sir. I am but a newcomer to this podcasting thing. Like Socrates claiming to have no great wisdom, I claim to have no great greatness. I will not stand for this. Claiming that I'm great. Come on now. Stay tuned for the February episode when a jury of 501 toga-clad jurors assembled in Bastion find me guilty. And the drink of the month is hemlock. Little ancient history teacher joke there. Check the show notes for a little hint into that. If you know, you know. So anyway, what's my point? This all got me thinking a little bit, and I really like connecting with other podcasters. That's been part of the fun of getting my own podcast. And as I say that, I realize, that statement alone is slightly at odds with the solo aspect of this show. That said, it's a lot of back and forth here. I like that some podcasters seem to have connections to each other. I know that there's, groups of people that do know each other, clearly some that don't, and that, of course is perfectly fine. But I like that there is kind of a community there. I think I would like there to be more of a community there. And with this, primarily audio media format shrinking, I think it's shrinking over the life of WoW, and now as more video content is out there, podcasting does seem to be slipping down in the tier list of WoW content. I think more connection among WoW podcasters would be a good thing. It is one of the reasons that I keep reaching out to fellow podcasters for interviews, and I have a bunch more on my list. Just saying. fair warning to any of you who are listening. And, I hope to run into them in the real world at some point. I hope that the WoW 30th anniversary thing that's coming to various world cities over the next few months, they are coming to Boston, and Boston's not far away. It's an hour and a half for me. I'm hoping that A, I can get there, B, others will get there, and C, we can meet up and hang out. And, I don't know, that is kind of exciting. I think there can be strength in keeping a podcast community alive and kind of, with all of its different angles and formats and stuff like that. I think that's really good if we keep working together. I love listening to other podcasts. I love hearing all the different angles and opinions and styles and formats. So, Solo Q listeners, maybe we should add a late New Year's resolution to check out one new podcast. Just one. I will if you will. I'll let you know next month who I checked out for the very first time. I'm going to find a podcast I've never listened to or don't remember ever listening to. There's a couple I'm going to find. I'm going to find one that I've never listened to. And if you happen to be a fellow podcaster listening, I know not all podcasters have the time to listen to other podcasts. And, I can see actually also not wanting to listen for the same reason, week after week, month after month that I mentioned with Denathar. You don't want to feel like you're, pulling from others or copying others, even subconsciously. But I hope at least some podcasters out there are listening to others, because I think it's a lot of fun. Reach out and say hi. Reach out and say hello. It's a bit funny to be in this spot that I'm kind of describing to you. Last year, I had a friend at work ask me, asking about the podcast and how things are going. And he asked me specifically, like, hey, are you building a community around your podcast? And he asked in a way like, there's only one answer to this. You are building a community, right? And I said, no, not really. I'm not really interested. And at the time, hey, it's a lot of work just learning podcasting and audio editing and engineering. And, this will not surprise you, but creating communities, interacting with lots of people is not really my thing. I mean, that's how I play the game, and it's natural to me. It's not something I want to be doing. Fast forward many, many months, and here we are, slowly and organically, the solo crew is growing. And I'm enjoying the slowly growing conversation and connections. I don't have that skill of leading and organizing such a thing, a group. That's not why I'm here. For me, this is a very solo kind of thing. And I realize we're getting kind of existential at the end of the podcast, just as we did at the start of the podcast. But it is happening. It is starting to happen. And I appreciate those who are throwing comments in, who are finding me on Discord every now and then. There's a conversation going on patreon.com/soloqwow for members. If you are there is a free membership tier. There, of course, is hey, I'd like to donate some membership tier. That's fantastic. And so slowly people are poking their head out and commenting. And I think, maybe we can all do solo together in a way, And again, that's a strange spot to be. But I'm appreciating it. I'm liking it. So Denathar, I appreciate yet another plug for my little show. I really do. That's very nice. I'm trying not to sound like Socrates in his arrogance, claiming no great wisdom. I appreciate the comment and for, clearly creating a bit of a rant and a bit of a topic in the back of my head. That said, if we meet, We will talk about the use of that word great, maybe in a back alley in Undermine at a time coming soon. Who knows? Well, it looks like our time in the queue is up for this month or last month or whatever month it is. Thanks for hanging with me. Appreciate it. I have to get back in game. I have more elders to honor from both this current expansion and from Dragonflight. A couple more achievements to figure out. All the music you hear is the work of the amazing people at Blizzard. Hashtag don't play muted. Come on. Of course, the music taking us out is the song Ogre by my friends in the doom metal band Ogre. It is a snow day here in Maine, and so I suggest that you go check out on the YouTube Ogre's song Age of Ice. Play it loud. I want to thank everyone who made this episode possible. My lovely and supportive wife, just upstairs waiting for me to finish editing. The good folks at Podbean who host Solo Q. If you're starting your own podcast, check out Podbean. If you want to support this show, even in a small way, you can find the show, as I mentioned, on patreon.com/soloqwow. Thank you so much to contributing members Andrew, Righteous Bandy, That Sky Guy, Sin, and, the Snake of Vol'dun. The support on Patreon has helped buy some new equipment and is pushing me towards, we're not quite there yet, twice monthly episodes. Paying members get to hear the opening bits of most episodes early, and as I said, there's a growing chat on Patreon, so check it out. And there has been an uptick in free members, and that support is appreciated as well. So thank you to Max, Eddie, Bear, John, Friends of Wampus, Sean, Levi, Kuro, Aranar, Aiden, and Guardian Sandy. If I mispronounced any of those, reach out and just let me know and say hi. You can subscribe to the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, all the rest. 5-star ratings with Apple and Spotify help the show grow, and leaving a review tells people why you think they should listen. As I find reviews, I'll share them here on the show with you. You can contact me at SOLOQUEUEWOW, that's soloqwow@gmail.com, and all those socials, Blue Sky and Gmail are the best way. Twitter, if you still need to Twitter, and, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, they're there. I don't use them as much, but they're there. Now, you should get out there and plunder, hit the Dark Moon Fair, honor those elders, and proclaim your love